All right, guys, so it is our last full week before our Thanksgiving break. So we're going to be doing a little bit of guided drawing today. We're going to be creating a pumpkin pie slice, which is a festive dessert for this time of year. We're going to be drawing our pumpkin pie slice to look a little bit 3D, and we're going to use highlights and shadows when we color our pumpkin pie slice to really emphasize that 3D effect on our drawing. So grab yourself a piece of paper. You might want a pencil or coloring supplies to work with today. And then once you have those things, press play on the video and I'll show you how to draw it.
Okay, I'm going to be using a marker to draw, but I would recommend that you use pencil in case you need to erase any mistakes. This is a guided drawing, so please follow along with me. I'm going to start by drawing a medium-sized rectangle in the middle of my paper. I'm holding my paper horizontally so that I have lots of room for my pumpkin pie. Next, I'm going to come to the top left corner and create a diagonal line that goes up and stops. I'm going to connect that line with another diagonal line to the other corner of the top of my rectangle. Next, starting at that very top corner, I'm going to use a wavy line and draw it down to create the crust of my pie. And then I'm going to make that line go straight down right next to the side of my pumpkin pie slice and go a little bit lower than the rectangle. Next, I'm going to make a horizontal line, a straight line that goes across and underneath my pumpkin pie slice, and then I'm going to connect it with the other side of the rectangle. Next, I'm going to create the plate for my pumpkin pie to sit on. So I'm going to start by creating a letter C shape right above where the bottom corner of the pie is, and then a matching but opposite letter C shape on the other side of my pumpkin pie slice. And then I'm going to connect those two with a straight line across, and there's my plate. Next, I'm going to create some whipped cream. So I'm going to start inside of my triangle. I'm going to make a wavy line that goes up and comes back down and meets back up where I started. You'll need to erase that line from the pie that goes through the whipped cream because whipped cream is not see-through. The next thing I'm going to do is draw a table line that goes behind my pumpkin pie. So I would not be able to see the whole line because pumpkin pie isn't see-through either. So I'm only going to draw one part of the line, stop, and then pick up the line on the other side of the pumpkin pie. Now remember, if this video is going too fast for you, or you need to go back and look at something again, you can always pause the video or restart and try again.
So I'm going to grab a yellow-orange crayon and a red-orange crayon. If you don't have that variety, you can just color a regular orange crayon lightly for our lighter side and darker for the darker side. So my yellow-orange crayon I'm going to use to color in the top of my pumpkin pie slice. Remember to use careful coloring. To emphasize the difference of the top of the pumpkin pie and the inside or the side of the pumpkin pie, I'm going to use the darker shade of orange to color in the rectangle part. So this just signifies that there's less light shining on this part of the pumpkin pie. It's a little bit darker. Now, if you wanted the colors to look a little more similar, you could always layer crayon colors or any colors that you're using. So I'll go back over it with that yellow-orange. That way they really connect. And they look like they're the same part of the same pie. All right, so the next color I'm going to use is a brown. I'm going to color in the crust of my pumpkin pie, brown. And then you can decide what color plate that you'd like. I think I'm going to leave my plate white actually because it's going to really help me out when I'm doing my shadow later on. Now, let's talk about shadows for a second. So when we have light shining on an object, it projects a shadow behind where the light is shining from. So if you step outside, the direction of the sun will be the opposite of your shadow. So if you're looking for your shadow, you want to look on the opposite side of you from the sun. Same goes for our pumpkin pie slice here. So let's pretend the light is shining from the right side of our pumpkin pie slice. It's kind of shining from up here in this corner. So we're seeing the sun or the light shine on top, which is why this is lighter and this is darker.
I'm going to go ahead and choose two colors, one for the table and one for the wall behind the table, and I'm going to color in the rest of the empty space on my page. So I'm using this red-violet color for the table, and then I think maybe a darker purple or darker blue for the wall. So let me speed this up so that you can see how it looks when that's done. All right, so the next thing to do, and it's the last step, is to add shadows to our picture. So I'm gonna add a shadow on my whipped cream using a gray crayon, and I'm just coloring really lightly along the left edge, and I'll zoom in here so you can see that. Just gives it a little more 3D feel and emphasizes those shadows that we were talking about. And then with a black crayon, I'm going to just kind of lightly color to the left and diagonally down from my pumpkin pie. This also helps make my artwork look more 3D and realistic, and it's good practice for adding shadows. All right, my friends, when you are all finished adding your shadows, please take a picture and put it on Canvas. I would like to see a fully colored picture of your pumpkin pie with shadows. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving weekend. Bye, guys.